Hi everyone, I am Anirudh Kolpawar. Today I am going to cover the topic Introduction to Object-Oriented Programming. Let's see what is Object-Oriented Programming. Basically, the Object-Oriented paradigm is a programming methodology that promotes the efficient design and development of software systems using reusable components that can be quickly and safely assembled into larger systems. The main aim of object-oriented programming is to implement real-world concepts like objects, real-world entity, classes, templates, blueprints, abstraction, visibility controls, inheritance, backward compatibility, parent-child relation, and polymorphism. These are the major pillars of the object-oriented programming. Many forms. Polymorphism means it contains more than one form, that is called as a many forms. See the diagram. It starts with object, class, inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, and encapsulation. Next, why object-oriented programming? The worst thing is that requirement always change. What exactly it is? Requirement always change means the customer is not stable. Customer is uh, changing the requirements time to time because every time the customer wants some new things in their software. So next, why object-oriented programming? Break down requirements into objects with responsibilities, not into functional steps. Means procedural approach to object-oriented approach. Easier to model real things, to make software projects more manageable and predictable, for more reuse code and prevent reinvention of wheel every time. So you can consider the procedure-oriented programming. So C, Pascal, Fortran, and similar languages are procedural languages. Each statement in the language tells the computer to do something. So for example, get some input, add these numbers, divided by 6, display that output. These are the instructions are given to the computer to do something. A program in a procedural language is a list of instructions, and we know very well what is meant by instruction. Instruction means you do something. Division into functions. In case of procedure oriented programming, what is exactly the division into functions means? Procedural program is divided into functions. Each function has a clearly defined purpose and a clearly defined interface to the other function in the program. The idea of breaking a program into functions can be further extended by grouping a number of functions together into a larger entity called module. Means nothing but the collection of functions is called as a module. So look at this diagram. This is the structure of procedure-oriented programming. The main program is divided into number of functions. Function 1, function 2, function 3, function 4, function 5, function 6, function 7 and function 8. Every function is associated with another function and main program is associated with all these function and function do something. In multifunction program, important data items are placed as a global so that they may be accessed by all functions. Each function may have its own local data. Every function has its own local data, and most of the time whenever we access some important data, that will be declared as a global, or it is called as a global. Means every function will be accessed that global data. So in figure 2, this is a procedural paradigm. See this function is accessing the global data. Next function is again accessing the global data. Another function is accessing the global data, and next another function is accessing the global data. Means every function is accessing the global data, and every function has its own local data. So what is the drawback? What is the drawback of procedure-oriented programming? First, since every function has completed access to the global variable, the new programmer can corrupt the data accidentally by creating a function. So there is maybe a chances of corruption of data accidentally. We can access the data of one function from other since there is no protection. In large programs, it is very difficult to identify what data is used by which function. Similarly, if new data is to be added, all the functions needed to be modified to access the data. Does not model the real world problem very well because it follows the top down approach and it having some limitations. That's why the real world problem is not solved very well. Characteristics. What is the characteristics? Emphasis is on doing things, that is called as an algorithm. An algorithm is nothing but the step-by-step process of the execution. Large programs are divided into smaller programs known as a function. Most of the functions share global data. Data move openly around the system from one function to another function. Function Functions transform data from one form to another. Employ top-down approach in a program design. I already told you top-down approach means top to the down, means step-by-step execution of the program. Top-down approach. Top-down decomposition is the process of breaking the overall procedure or a task into component parts, modules, and then subdivided each component module until the lowest level of the detail has been reached. Example: the payroll system of a company can contain the following module or a task. We can consider the payroll system of a company. So what exactly include in the that that payroll system of a company? So first is master file, earnings, deductions, taxing, net earnings, print reports. So come to the point. Object-oriented programming. Object-oriented programming was introduced to overcome flaws in the procedural approach to the programming, such as a lack of reusability and maintainability. Fundamental idea behind object-oriented language is to combine into single unit both data and functions that operate on the data. Such a unit is called as an object. In case of object-oriented programming, here we have the facility of reusability and the maintainability, because there was a facility, this facility is not available in case of procedure-oriented programming, because it is a procedure. It follows, the main emphasis is on the procedure, and there is a main role of function. Every function having some local data, and whatever we have, whatever the main data is there, it declare as a global, and every function can access the global data. So there may be a chances of corruption of the data. Next, in object-oriented programming, problem is divided into number of entities called objects, and then builds data and functions around these objects. It ties the data more closely to the functions that operate on it and protects it from accidental modification from the outside function. Data of an object can be accessed only by the functions associated with that object. Communication of the objects done through the function. Characteristics. What is characteristics? Emphasis on data rather than procedure. I told you earlier. Programs are divided into entities known as objects. Data structures are designed such that they characterize objects. Functions that operate on data of an object are tied together in a data structure. Data is hidden and cannot be accessed by external functions. Objects communicate with each other through functions. New data and functions can be easily added whenever necessary. Follows bottom-up design in a program design. Here the main difference lies in object-oriented programming and the procedure-oriented programming. Bottom-up design follows bottom-up design follows in object-oriented programming, and top-down approaches follows in procedure-oriented programming. Bottom-up approach, exactly reverse of top-down approach. So lower level tasks are first carried out and are then integrated to provide the solution of a single program. So lower level structures of the program are evolved first, then higher level structures are created because it follows the bottom up approach. It promotes code reuse. It may allow unit testing. So there is a difference between procedural programming and object-oriented programming. Large programs are divided into small programs known as functions. In case of procedural programming, programs are divided into objects. Data is not hidden and can be accessed by external functions in case of procedural programming. Data is hidden and cannot be accessed by external functions. There is a security in case of object-oriented programming. Follow top-down approach in the program design. In case of procedural programming, follows bottom-up approach in the program design in case of object-oriented programming. Data may communicate with each other through functions in case of procedural programming. Objects may communicate with each other through functions in case of object-oriented programming because here the object plays an important role. Emphasis is on procedure rather than data. In case of procedural programming, emphasis is on data rather than procedure. In case of object-oriented programming, this is the major difference between the procedural programming and the object-oriented programming. Next, the basic concepts of the object-oriented programming. First is object, classes, data abstraction, data encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, dynamic binding, and message passing. So let's see one by one. What is objects? This is, we see this diagram, attributes, and around in attributes operation is there. Around these attributes operation means attributes perform the operation. Objects. What is the definition of the objects? Objects are basic building blocks for designing program. An object is a collection of data members and associated with member function. An object may represent a person, place, or a table of data. Each object is identified by a unique name. Each object must be a member of particular class. An example, apple, orange, mango are the objects of fruit class. See this diagram. Object name is student, data member data, name, registration number, course. These are called as an data members. And what is member function? Get data, display data. This called as a member function of object. Next, when a program is executed, the objects interact by sending message to one another. For example, if a customer and account are two objects in a program, then the customer object may send a message to account object requesting for bank balance. Each object contains data and code to manipulate the data. What is classes? See this. In this circle, many small circles are there. That is what exactly the meaning is? Wrapping of data into a single unit, that is called as a class. Classes are user-defined data types and it behaves like a built-in types of programming language. Classes are user-defined data types and it behaves like a built-in types of programming language. Object contains code and data which can be made user-defined type using class. Objects are variables of class. So once a class has been defined, we can create any number of objects for that class. A class is a collection of objects of similar type. This is again another definition of the class. A class is a collection of objects of similar type. Next, we can create object of class using following syntax. Then see this syntax carefully. Syntax, class name, space, object name, semicolon. Here, class name is a class which is already created. Object name is any user-defined name. For example, if student is a class, then class name is student, and Ram and Shyam are the objects. In above example, Ram and Shyam are the name of objects for the class student. We can create any number of objects for class. What is encapsulation? See this diagram. This is a capsule, and in capsule many ingredients are present, but we does not know what exactly present in the capsule. So see this variables, methods, class. Let's see in detail. Encapsulation is the first pillar or principle of object-oriented programming. In simple words, encapsulation is a process of binding data members, variables properties, and member function methods into a single unit. And class is the best example of encapsulation. Means what exactly it is? Encapsulation means it binding of data members and the member function. Whatever these things are present in a class, that's why a class is the best example of encapsulation. For example, simple example of medical store. We can consider the medical store. Let's say you have to buy some medicines. You go to the medical store and ask the chemist for the medicines. Only the chemist has access to the medicines in the store based on your prescription. The chemist knows what medicines to give to you. This reduces the risk of you taking any medicine that is not intended for you because it will give according to the prescription. In this example, what what the member variable is? Medicine is considered to be a member variable, chemist is considered to be a member method, and you consider to be an external application or a piece of code. That is the meaning of encapsulation. Second example is car. Car is a class considered to be a class. What is the data members? Model, speed, engine, speed limit. These are the data members of the class car, and drive, stop, set speed. These are the functions. These are the methods. Encapsulation. Through encapsulation, data is not accessible to the outside world, and only those functions which are wrapped in the class can access it. Second, encapsulation solves the problem at the implementation level. A class can specify how accessible each of its members, variables, properties, and methods is to code outside of the class. So encapsulation means hiding the important features of class which is not been needed to be exposed outside of a class, and exposing only necessary things of a class. Hidden part of a class acts like an encapsulation, and exposed part of a class acts like an abstraction. Here I want to give a simple example of your mobile phone. Every mobile user can deal with only a software part, means only a application which is installed in your mobile that will be accessible, that is called as an abstraction. We cannot deal with the hardware, how your hardware is working. We cannot deal with that, is not our issue. That is called as an encapsulation. Means these are the exposed hidden part of the mobile phone, that is called as an encapsulation, and we can see the apps application which is installed in your mobile phone. This is the exposed part of the mobile, that is called as an abstraction. So let's see the abstraction. Abstraction refers the presentation of necessary features without including more details or explanations. Data abstraction is a programming and design technique that relies on the separation of interface and the implementation. Simple example of the abstraction. When you press a key on your keyboard, the character appears on the screen. You need to know only this, but how exactly it works based on the electronically is not needed. This is called as an abstraction. We only use the keyboard, we only press the buttons, that the buttons, whichever button is pressed, it is appear on the screen. But how it exactly works, we don't know. That is called as an abstraction, hiding the essential details from the user. Another example. When you use the remote control of your TV, you do not bother about how pressing a key in the remote changes the channel on the TV. You just know that pressing the plus volume button will increase the volume. Inheritance, the biggest and major pillar of the object-oriented programming. See this: grandfather, father, and child. We consider to be a grandfather as a class A, father is a class B, and child is a class C. Same thing with the vehicle class. Vehicle means vehicle type of vehicle is car and truck. Again, car is divided into two parts: electrical and the petrol car. See in detail what is inheritance. The mechanism of deriving a new class from an old class is called inheritance or a derivation. The old class is known as a base class, while a new class is known as a derived class or a subclass. The inheritance is the most powerful feature of object-oriented programming because you can inherit the properties of base class to subclass. For example, consider an example of family of three members having a mother, father, and son named Jack. Jack father tall and dark, Jack mother short and fair. Jack is tall and fair, so he is said to have inherited the features of his father and the mother respectively. Means Jack is inherit the properties of mother and the father. In through effective use of inheritance, you can save a lot of time in your programming and also reduce errors, because this is the only pillar of object-oriented programming which is give you flexibility to reuse the code, which is which in turn will increase the quality of work and also productivity. Different types of inheritance are single inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance. We will explain all of the above in detail later when we cover inheritance. Last is the second last is the polymorphism. What is polymorphism? It takes more than one form. Polymorphism is a Greek term which means ability to take more than one form. For example, plus operator is used to make sum of two numbers, as well as it is used to combine two strings. Means plus operator, it will take more than one form. Means plus operator is doing the addition of two numbers, and also plus operator is doing the addition of two strings. This is known as a operator overloading, because same operator may behave differently on different instances. That is called as an polymorphism. Same way, functions can be overloaded. For example, sum function, the function name is sum, may take two arguments or three arguments, etc. Some function with 5, 7, or another function sum is with parameters 4, 6, 8. Single function print draws different objects. Consider this diagram. Shape having print method, circle class having print method, rectangle class having print method, star having print method. All these print method behave different. That is called as a function overloaded. Dynamic binding. What exactly it is dynamic binding? Binding means link between procedure call and code to be executed. It is the process of linking of function call to the actual code of the function at runtime. That is, in dynamic binding, the actual code to be executed is not known to the compiler until runtime. It is also called as an late binding. For example, compiler comes to know at runtime that which function of sum will be called either with two arguments or with three arguments. Means compiler doesn't know which method has been called with either two arguments or with a three arguments. Benefits of object-oriented programming. User can create new data type or user-defined data type by making class. Code can be reused by using inheritance. I told you earlier. Data can be hiding from outside world by using encapsulation. Operators or functions can be overloaded by using polymorphism, or some functions or operators can be used for multitasking. These are the major benefits of object-oriented programming. Object-oriented system can be easily upgraded from small system to large system. It is easy to partition work for same project. Means you can divide the project work. Message passing techniques make communication easier. Software complexity can be easily managed. Maintenance cost is less. Simple to implement. These are the benefits of object-oriented programming. Areas for applications of object-oriented programming. First is real-time system, simulation and modeling, object-oriented database, hypertext, hypermedia and hypertext, AI, artificial intelligence and expert system, neural network and parallel programming, decision support system, office automation system, CIM, CAM, CAD system. Everywhere there is a use of object-oriented programming. You can to be continued with the next video tutorial. So be pleased with us in next tutorial. In next video tutorial we can cover Java virtual machine, Java features, program structures, Java programming constructs, variables, primitive data types, identifier, literals, operators, expressions, precedence rules, and associativity, primitive type conversion and casting, flow of control. Please like, share, and subscribe our channel Engineering Tutorial Hub. Thank you.